The current state that we all find ourselves in which there is huge amounts of fear, panic, isolation, anxiety, has an impact on ourselves and our health and well-being. So what can we do in order to ensure that we can adjust, that we have the energy and the resources to adapt to this change? We are going through a significant global change at the moment. And this change is not something that's going to go away over the next few months or weeks. Even though the current crisis might fade away, the impact of this crisis and the subsequent domino effect is going to have incredible impact on a whole range of everyday, what we used to consider to be normality in our life. So how do we adjust to this? The first thing is to accept that change is taking place. And this change is going to take place whether we like it or not. And we can make it easier upon ourselves by ensuring that we have the energy and the resources to adapt to this change. Or we can resist this change, in which case all we're going to do is just simply increase our levels of stress, our levels of anxiety, and therefore make us far more vulnerable to illness, infections, and ensure that we don't have the energy to even work with this change as it takes place. So what can we do? The first thing is we need to build a sense of routine that empowers and energizes ourselves. To help us adapt to the change and to ensure that we have sufficient energy and resources within ourselves, we can develop a routine, a structured approach to our everyday life. And this structured approach would include meditation. Why meditation? Because this is the opportunity for you to know yourself. We have a body, but we are not the body. Consider this. You started your life within your mother as a single cell. And that cell, upon fertilization, has grown such that you are now listening to this video today. So the body is constantly going through change. So you can't be the body. Notice that your mind, you weren't born with a mind. Your mind was created through your education. Your mind was created through your language. And your sense of self developed. Now this sense of self, your thoughts, etc., they seem to come and go. So your thoughts change, but you don't change. Your emotional states come and go. They change, but you don't change. So you have a body, but you're not your body. You have a mind, but you're not your mind. You have emotions, but you're not your emotions. So who are you? This is the time to discover who you truly are. And what you may be surprised to recognize is that what you are, your essential sense of self, is this unchanging consciousness, awareness. So meditation allows us to ground ourselves within our essential self. We can either identify ourselves with the body and the mind, in which case we will always be subject to fear, subject to panic, subject to threat. So if anyone threatens the body, if anyone threatens the sense of self, we will kick off the flight-fight response system, which will then damage ourselves to a point where we are far more likely to become ill and more prone to infections, etc. So identifying with the body or identifying with the mind is going to become something that actually hampers you, doesn't help you develop. So meditation allows us to move into this deeper sense of self, which is unchanging, always there. How else can we identify this? Ask yourself this question. Can you stop yourself having an experience? When you're asleep, you're having an experience of being asleep. When you are listening to this, you're having an experience to the sounds and the stimulus and the thoughts and the emotions that this is now activating. So there is no point at which you can stop yourself having an experience. So the experiencer, your consciousness, has always been there and always will be there. So by identifying ourselves, recognizing and acknowledging that as our experience, we find ourselves far more grounded. So begin with meditation. 2. Cultivate chi, prana. This is absolutely critical to ensure that the body has enough electrical energy in order for it to function appropriately. It has the resources within the body in order to repair and function in a way that is beneficial, not just to you, yourself, but to those around you. So cultivate chi. The third thing you can do is to have something creative within your everyday life. Anything that allows you to express your creativity. Could be singing, could be drawing, could be playing an instrument, could be cooking, could be anything that gives you a sense of creativity. For you are a creative being. You are a creative conscious flow, just like everyone else. And if we identify ourselves with this creative conscious flow, then we harmonize with the changes around us, rather than being resistant to it. The fourth thing you can do is to ensure that you go for a walk. You make sure that you eat plenty of good food where you can. Ensure that you can have warm water. Keep yourself hydrated. For a dehydrated body is far more likely prone to infections and illness. More importantly, when we are dehydrated, our thinking capacity, clarity, is also impaired. So some simple ways of ensuring that we can cultivate a sense of self and ensure that we can adapt to the changes that we are undergoing at the moment, and that we have sufficient energy and resources within ourselves, and we can ensure that this transition that we are all undergoing is something that has the minimal impact on our health and well-being.